Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to make a nut pound cake, which I got a recipe from my mom and I really love it. So let's start. At first I'm buttering the tin very thoroughly, so butter is really everywhere. And I do this with just softened butter and a silicone brush. When the tin is evenly coated with butter, add a bit of flour to it, and then I'm just using my hand to really get the flour everywhere on this tin. It should go up all sides, and if you're using another cake tin, it's important it goes into all the crevices, because otherwise your cake might stick and we don't want that. In the end, I banged out the flour over the sink so you get rid of all the excess. Now I'm combining vanilla sugar, which I just made myself by putting some scraped out vanilla beans into the sugar tin and normal sugar with softened butter. I left the butter out overnight, which is easy because you're using a whole pack of butter anyways. So I just put it out last night and left it there. Same goes for the eggs, by the way. Cream together the butter and the sugars until they're well mixed together and get lighter in color and are quite fluffy together. While this is mixing, I'm mixing together flour, ground hazelnuts and baking powder. I ground the hazelnuts myself so I could get a mix of coarser and finer hazelnut grounds because it just gives a really nice texture, but you can basically use whatever your preference is. And I also mixed the baking powder from baking soda and cream of tartar because this is what I had at home, but otherwise just use normal baking powder. It's important to scrape the sides of the bowl every now and then during mixing, so you're making sure everything is incorporating nice and evenly. The eggs get added one by one, always mixing in between, and every now and then also again scraping the sides of the bowl. I really love this cake. It is really moist from basically all the fat you're using, just from the hazelnuts and the butter, but has quite a crunchy outside. And for me, it just tastes like my childhood because my mom always used to make it, or still makes it whenever I'm coming home. So I really needed some comfort food, which is why I made this cake. Mix together the dry ingredients and add them bit by bit. I just do that while the mixer is running on a low speed, but you could also just dump half of the flour mixture in and incorporate it, and then dump the other half in. It's important though to do this quickly and not mix too long as soon as the flour is in, because otherwise you don't get a light cake. After the dry ingredients are incorporated, you can add a swig of brandy or rum if you want to. You don't have to. I also added some chocolate sprinkles I still had lying around because I didn't know what to do with them. And hazelnuts and chocolates go quite well together. So now the dough is done and you can put it in your tin. Here it's important to try not to touch too much of the sides of the pan with your dough while you're putting it in, because otherwise you're just going to scrape down all that nice butter and flour you just put in, and then you might have your dough sticking, which you certainly don't want. It's not necessary to completely flatten out the dough, so don't be too strict about all of this. Just make it a bit even so it will cook evenly in the oven. And then put it in the oven. I baked it at 150 to 160 degrees in a convection oven. If you have a conventional oven, just do about 10 to 20 degrees more. The whole loaf takes about an hour, and afterwards I tested it with a skewer. If dough is still sticking to the skewer, you still need to bake it a bit more. I'm running a knife along the edges just to make sure nothing is sticking to the tin. But as you can see, it just pops out perfectly. And that is because all of the buttering and flouring, so make sure you do that. I hope you enjoyed this video and will get a chance to bake it. Here you can see the end result.